There's something special about stone circles, something enigmatic, mysterious, or different. These stones, which have been in place for several thousand years, still call out to us in a way. It is also amazing that even after such a long time, there is so much we do not know about them, such as why they were built or what purposes they served. Indeed, it is better to put this another way. There is much we will never know about them. Perhaps these mysteries are the reason for their attraction. Drombeg Stone Circle in Cork is perhaps the most visited stone circle in Ireland. It is certainly the best visited of the Munster group of circles. According to Wikipedia, it is also one of the most visited megalithic sites in Ireland. Unlike some circles, it is relatively easy to get to. It also has a large number of stones, 17 originally, though one has fallen and 2 are missing. Its stones vary from 1 metre to 2 metres in height, between 20 centimetres and 65 centimetres thick, and between 2 metres and half a metre long. The 2 tallest stones are called the portal stones, as they seem to mark an entrance to the circle. Roughly opposite them is the axial stone, which is 2 metres long. Unlike the other stones, it is lying on its side. It also has some markings on it, namely 2 shallow cup markings surrounded by an oval carving. Various hypotheses have been advanced about these. The portal stones and the axial stone seem to be aligned at the winter solstice with a point on the horizon, as is common with many megalithic sites. Also, like many sites, it is aligned along a northeast-southwest axis and has a diameter of 9 metres along this axis. Drombeg was excavated in the 1950s when 5 pits were found within the stone circle under what is called a compacted gravel floor. In one of these, a pot was found containing the remains of a cremated youth. Other findings included pieces of flint and a scraper. The first time some of these remains were radiocarbon dated, the surprising finding was BC 13 plus or minus 140. This was later changed to the even more surprising AD 600 plus or minus 120, dates seen by specialists as, quote, clearly anomalous, end quote. More recently, the charcoal was dated again, and this time the range obtained was 1124 BC to 794 BC, much more in line with expectations. In addition to the stone circle, there are also huts and 2 Fulloch Fia nearby. Technically called multi-period, these were used at various times over a long period. It's not sure if the earliest huts date back to when the circle was built. Some of the huts on the Fulloch Fia are quite a bit later. The date for the latter also brought surprises. One sample gave the range of 109 to 349 AD and the other from 368 to 608 AD. The archaeologists surmised that the Fulloch Fia were not in use continuously for these 500 years, but could have been used at different times. It's worth pointing out what a Fulloch Fia is. Often called burnt mounds, they are essentially roasting pits lined with stone that were used for cooking in the Iron Age, and maybe earlier, and possibly early Christian periods. Nowadays, they often consist of a small man-made mound of charcoal-enriched soil and heat-shattered stone. When in use, however, they basically consisted of a stone-lined pit which was filled with water into which heated stones were lowered, presumably to get the water to boil for cooking. In the Drombeg case, after excavations, the archaeologist found a horseshoe-shaped dry stone enclosing bank, a central slab-lined cooking bit, a U-shaped hearth, and a well with associated overflow drainage channels. Nearby was an oval unlined pit with burnt broken stones. Now, let us talk a little about stone circles in general. They can be found in many parts of northwestern Europe, notably Ireland, Brittany and Britain. In Ireland, there are around 400 stone circles, 255 in the south and 150 in the north. Most of these occur in two large concentrations of stone circles, one in South Munster, southwest Kerry, especially near Kenmare and Cork, and the second one in Ulster, centred on Tyrone. The Ulster and Munster groups are extremely different. The former consists of a large number of small stones, less than half a metre tall, often occurring in clusters with more than one circle. Perhaps the most famous example is Beamore in Tyrone, where there are hundreds of stones in 7 circles. In Munster, or rather in Cork and southwest Kerry, the circles consist of a small number of large stones. Around half of these have 5 stones and are called 5-stone circles. The large circles tend to vary from 7 to 19 stones. Many of these are found in the Beara Peninsula and West Cork. In addition to these two groups, there is a third type of stone circle found in Ireland, though they are much less numerous. These are what are called embanked stone circles, basically stone circles surrounded by an earthen bank. Indeed, some of them are described as henges. There are only 7 of this type of stone circle in Ireland, the most famous being Lish or Grain Stone Circle near Lough Gur. In relation to dating, few of the circles have been excavated, which makes it hard to date them accurately. Indeed, dating of these circles is somewhat controversial. Somewhat tentatively, the Munster Stone Circle seem to have been built between 1600 and 800 BC. This seems to be in line with the dating obtained for Drombeg. However, the difficulties with dating the material obtained from the excavations perhaps point to the reuse of the site. Certainly there were people living and eating near it hundreds of years after it was built. A different culture seems to have been in Ireland at this stage, or at least this part of Munster. What did these people make of the circle? Did they wonder like us about its use and function? Or did they incorporate it into their myths and lies, as seems to have happened with some megalithic monuments elsewhere, such as Ictacur in Kerry, and which was definitely done with Tara and Brunaboynia? Of the many antiquities which can be found around Ireland, stone circles and stone rows seem to exercise a special appeal. Perhaps this is due to the mystery which surrounds them, as they can be found in various parts of the country. But we really do not know why they were built, though we can make good guesses. Another reason is that we do not always know exactly when they were built, or even who built them at times. Again, we can have hypotheses or ideas about this. Some of the ideas can be well based, others less so. It is definitely a mistake to call them Celtic, or say they were built for or by Druids, as they by far predate the arrival of the Gaelic Irish or Celtic peoples in Ireland. Somewhat differently, another reason is the connection between these circles or stone rows and astronomy. There seems to be a fascination with astronomical alignment of these circles and their relationship with the stars, and with the lost knowledge or technology of those who built them. This is a contentious issue, and one for which there is no simplistic or unitary explanation. This should be obvious, as they were constructed by complex societies, as all human societies are. Societies that were very different from our own, but nonetheless were not primitive or simple. A final reason for the fascination with stone circles is that they have their own kind of beauty, especially when set against the rugged landscapes of the Beara or Iveragh peninsulas or West Cork. It's also worth mentioning that these circles have been interpreted in various ways by different cultures. After all, they were built more than 3,000 years ago. It seems obvious that over time people will have seen them in different ways and incorporated them in their own mythologies, as can be seen in the modern link between Druids and megalithic monuments. It was clearly found in Stonehenge, which is seen everywhere. There is a Druid's chair or a Druid's altar. Indeed, Druid's altar seems to have been the name given to Drombeg at some stage. Probably many were incorporated in Gaelic culture. I showed this in my video on the Song of American and South Kerry, where stone rows and wedge tombs were incorporated into Gaelic mythology. However, in most cases this link has been lost. Drawing on the above, it is worth concluding by looking a little at what archaeologists think circles may have been used for. Basically, the answer is a very modern world. Multifunctionality. They were used for a wide variety of purposes. These include burial and religious practices, whether for burials or cremations, but also ceremonial rituals to remember the dead and other sacred purposes. Other uses would have been for community gatherings or for exchange and trade. Many also had some astronomical use, such as being used as a type of calendar to tell the seasons or the approach of the solstice, though this has been questioned by some specialists. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, they were symbolic sites important to the communities that built them. No matter their original purpose, stone circles have been reused and reimagined by many in the thousands of years that have passed since they were rebuilt. This reimagination continues today. Many have become sites of new forms of worship or pilgrimage, whether sacred or mundane, or even more simply as fascinating sites to visit, to see, to feel, and perhaps just to go there and contemplate life. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video and leave a comment. Finally, if you can support the channel, the link to my Buy Me a Coffee account is below. If you could make a donation, it would be wonderful. Go Rav Mahagriv.